case you have not heard, today is the big day. It's the day that the Iron Orchid Designs has released their 2025 spring new release products. I cannot wait to show you all of these. We have 3 transfers. This first transfer is the Wild Bloomin' transfer. It is an 8x12 set with 8 different sheets full of all kinds of gorgeous florals, birds, butterflies, straight out of your grandmother's garden. I love this set. It's absolutely gorgeous. The next set is the Katharina set. These are gorgeous florals, bold, bright. They'll remind you of an English countryside and English garden. These are gorgeous flowers and florals, and they have pansies and roses and all kinds of gorgeous bright flowers. That's Katharina. The next one is the Lost Garden transfer. This is a gorgeous set. It is a 12x16 set of all kinds of wild, really cool, wandering flowers such as blackberries and roses and all kinds of florals that have wandering trails, and also just beautiful arrangements. I think you're going to love this 12x16 set. It comes with 8 different pages. There are 2 new paint inlays. One is this fresh blue and white European inspired paint inlay with a touch of lemons. For all of you blue and white lovers, you're going to love this paper, and I'm going to teach you how to use a paint inlay once and for all. So I will show you 2 different techniques, one using chalk paint and one using liquid patina. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use a paint inlay, and you will not be scared of it, and you will get amazing results. So y'all take a look at this beautiful Portofino paint inlay. My name is Emily, and I'm with J. Bowen & Company. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if this is your first time, welcome. I am so glad that you clicked on this video today. The next paint inlay is a spring melody. It is all things spring, think Easter, think bunnies, think baby animals, roses. I think you're absolutely going to love the spring melody paint inlay, and I think you're going to enjoy using your paint inlays. There are 5 brand new molds. The first one is Sparrow's Nest. I'm going to be featuring this particular mold on one of our projects today. And then there are 4 other molds. The next 4 are Wild Berries, Blossom, Trimmings 4, and Vintage Brooches. I think you're going to love these 2. These will be perfect to add to your collection or to start a collection if you've never purchased any of these IOD molds before. They are very well made, they're very easy to use, and they give you gorgeous results. There are 5 different stamps. This is called the Shade in Song stamp. And this one will be featured in one of our projects today. It's a 12x12 stamp set with birds and blossoming trees. And then you've got the Bramble and Berries stamp set. That's another 12x12 set. There are 3 4x4 stamp sets that contain 4 sheets each. These are the mini stamps. You've got the Countryside Memories, the Velveteen, the Insignia, and there's Mr. Big. He's helping out again. He's back here with me, staying through the weekend. So now we have Sabelle, which is a gilded transfer set. There are 4 12x16 sheets, and then we have the Petit's Ornaments. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but it's an 8x12. The first project that we will be working on are these brass trinket dishes. These two brass pieces had been in my booth and had not sold, so I decided that I'd bring them home, and I'm first showcasing this Wild Bloomin' Transfer set. This set is full of birds and flowers and butterflies. It reminds me of my mother and my grandmother. They always had a ton of different flowers in their yard, and it was just full of, their yard was just full of flowers, butterflies, birds, all the things my mom and grandmother loved. And so I think you're going to love this too. It's an 8x12 transfer set, and it has 8 different sheets of transfers. And so they're very easy to use. If you've never used a transfer, all you do is you peel off the bottom, then you're going to place your transfer on your piece, and you're going to use that little stick that it comes with, and you're going to rub your transfer and pull it back at the same time, and it will just transfer right onto your piece. And then you're just going to kind of rub it with that plastic right there. For some reason on this particular piece, it was sticky. It felt a little sticky. So I just decided to just gently use my fingers on this one just to make sure that it attaches to the piece. Now, if you're going to sell a piece like this, you would want to put some wax or something on it. But if I'm just going to keep it, I may not do that. I may just leave it as is. But if you want to seal your piece, you need to do that. So, to protect it. So the next thing I'm going to do is take out this larger transfer that's in this Wild Bloomin' set, and I'm just going to place it onto this larger piece, and I'm just going to transfer it right there. It's very easy to do. You're just going to transfer the transfer onto your piece, and you're going to have a whole new work of art. And this is just a beautiful set. It has a ton of different flowers. You can use it on multiple pieces. Y'all pick up this one. This is going to be a hot seller. I know this one's going to sell out. Usually the transfers sell out pretty soon. So if you want to get one of these, you need to head over to my website. I'll put the link to all of these items in my description so you can go check them out. If you enjoyed this easy thrift flip, just give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think about these brass trinket dishes now that they have the new Wild Bloomin' transfer on them. I'm calling this next project the Chinoiserie rolling pins. So the first thing I did is I took out these rolling pins that were actually in my personal stash. And then I took out the casement fusion mineral paint, and I gave these a coat of paint. One coat covered this rolling pin, and I decided that I was going to do 2 different rolling pins, and my idea was that I was going to use 2 different stamps. Now this is the Shade and Song stamp. I love this stamp. It's 12 by 12. It's got these blossoming trees with the birds. And the first thing that you're going to do when you open up your stamp set is you're going to take some sandpaper and you're going to lightly sand it, then wipe off the dust, and this way your ink will adhere better to your piece. Now I'm going to be using China blue ink, but this ink pad already had some green on it, and then I added the China blue ink, so it's going to be a slightly different color than the straight IOD China blue ink. It's the new grass green with the China blue ink mixed, but a whole lot more China blue ink than the green. So you're just going to ink up your stamp, and then you're going to take your rolling pin. It already has dried overnight, and then you're just going to roll it gently on your stamp, and y'all look at this. I think it turned out amazing. Originally, I was going to do this same technique with 2 different stamps, but I loved how this turned out so much that I decided to do 2 rolling pins using this same stamp. So the second rolling pin, I just scooted it over to the left side of the stamp and I rolled it again. And y'all, look at that. Look how classy that looks. Anyone would love this. It would make a great gift, home decor for yourself, or you can sell it for a good amount of money. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Y'all give me a thumbs up if you like how those rolling pins turned out. This is the Shade and Song stamp, and you can use this stamp over and over and over and create so many beautiful projects. The next project is this flower pot. I went outside to my backyard to find this flower pot. I picked up this flower pot at a thrift store a while back, intending to make it over. I never did, so I decided to make it over now for this project. I gave it 2 coats of DIY White Swan. It's a bright white color. And then I pulled out the Portofino paint inlay. I think y'all are going to love this. I love blue and white. I know a bunch of you love blue and white. It comes with 8 different pages. This is a 12 by 16 inch paint inlay. I am going to show you how to use a paint inlay. A lot of you are scared to use one or never have, but I'm going to show you 2 different techniques on how you can apply a paint inlay. For all of you that love blue and white, I think you're going to absolutely love this inlay. Last spring, we traveled to Portugal, and this reminds me so much of Portugal. There's a lot of blue and white and yellow in Portugal, so I am going to show you how to use this first technique. So what you're going to do is, after you've already applied your coat of paint, I'm using the clay-based paint, you're going to cut out your inlay, and I like to cut it out close to the actual inlay. That is actually paint. It's not a transfer. It's actually paint on that paper. Okay. So what you're going to do, this is the first technique that you can use. You're going to take out your clay-based chalk paint and you're going to give it a nice thick coat of paint, just like a regular coat of paint, but it needs to be nice and thick. Okay. You're going to lightly mist your paint inlay, the side that has the paint on it, but be careful, don't overly mist it. I think I misted it a little too much, so just lightly spritz it. You're then going to press it down, face down, the side that has the paint on it, face down into that wet chalk paint. I know it sounds weird and kind of scary, but don't be scared. It's not hard to do. So you're just going to press it down and then use your hands and rub it right there into that wet paint. Okay? Then you are going to let it dry. Periodically, you can test it a little bit to see if it is coming off. So I tested it right there, and I can see that it came off really good. It transferred really good onto the pot, and then it stopped transferring. So I then placed it back down, okay, because it wasn't dry. It needs to dry so that it can transfer from the paper to your pot, okay. I tested it several times. Once it's good and ready, you're then going to just gently pull it off. You can also spritz it. If it's too dry, you want to spritz it first so that it will come off. You don't want it to be stuck so hard. You need to keep that sheet with the paint inlay so that you can use it again. You should be able to use it multiple times, but each time that you use it, it's going to be a little bit more distressed. So to sum it up, with the paint inlays, you can use each inlay multiple times. Each time the image will be a little bit different, a little bit more distressed, and may carry over some of the paint from your previous project. Now that you see how easy it is to use a paint inlay with chalk paint, do you think that you will give it a try? If you haven't already, hit that like button. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this project. This is the Portofino paint inlay. Off camera, I sealed this up with liquid patina, which is safe for indoor and outdoor use. Remember, the IOD paint inlays and the DIY paint needs to be sealed. Next project, I'm calling the Rusty Vases. I am going to use the largest transfer sheet, the Lost Garden Transfer. And it reminds me of my garden where I have blackberry bushes because they are just wandering vines. It's very wild and organic. There's mixed flowers, but these are larger transfer. These are 12 by 16 inches, and there's 8 sheets of these different flowers. So these vases, I purchased last year, and they were that brown color, that brown early 90s color where everything, not early 90s, that brown 2000 color where everything was that brown metal color. So I did a little experiment. A lot of times I will place my metal items into my garden, and then I just let them sit there for months until they rust. That's what I did with these, and it took all of that brown off of these vases, and this was the end result after several months being left out in the elements. So I decided to choose 2 different transfers from that set. They have several matching transfers, and I put them on these vases. These are really tall vases. They're large vases. And so I found these 2. They're more organic looking flowers in this particular set. Now these 2 are kind of smaller transfers because the way these vases were, they were small at the bottom and they get larger at the top. And most of these transfers are larger at the bottom and get smaller at the top. I think this transfer set is designed to be going upwards. So like imagine if you had a front of a dresser or something, these vines go upwards, and some of them actually have the roots showing, which I absolutely love. I think it is so cool. I love this transfer set. I think this is going to be a big hit, and I think you're going to love this one as well. So I'm just doing the same thing with these transfers. I'm just placing the transfer onto the piece, and I'm using that stick to rub and pull, rub and pull. Because this was not on a painted surface and it was kind of a little uneven, it was a little bit more difficult. But not hard, just a little bit more difficult. But if you were to do this same thing on a painted surface using Fusion Mineral Paint, a paint that already has a sealer in it, or DIY paint that has a sealer on it, you want to use a DIY paint, put the sealer, then add the transfer, it would come off very easy, even easier than this. Let me know what you think in the comments. And y'all let me know which one of these projects is your favorite. I think y'all can tell I'm so excited about these new transfers and molds and stamps and paint inlays. I've been waiting a while to show y'all these. After I gave it a good clean, the first thing I had to do is remove this little Frosty. I just pulled him right off and set him to the side. Let's just take a look at this mold. This is the Sparrow's Nest mold. It is a super cool mold. It has two bird's nests, one with eggs, one without eggs, and then it's got several different birds. So I thrifted that birdhouse for $2. It's a winter themed birdhouse originally from Kmart. And I'm going to make it over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm taking out my Iron Orchid Design air dry clay, and I rolled it up. I got it warmed up a little bit, and then I put some cornstarch in my mold. It will help your molds release and allow more details to show up. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to add your air dry clay. You can take out your brayer if you have one, smooth out the top surface, take the excess off around the edges, and then you're going to turn over your piece and gently remove this mold or the casting of the mold from your piece. Look at that cool bird's nest. We are going to be able to use this particular mold on many different projects. You can just imagine all the things you could put these on. You could put them on galvanized buckets. You could put them on actually in picture frames, on birdhouses. There are so many different ways you could use these birds in the bird's nest. So I'm going ahead and I'm gluing it directly to the piece prior to painting it. Kind of seems a little weird to do it that way, but it's my understanding that once it's painted, it may not adhere as well to a freshly painted surface. So just go ahead and glue your clay, your air dry clay casting onto your piece. So that's what I'm doing. I added that cute little bird at the top. One little twig kind of came off, so it didn't come out of the mold, so I just glued it right there on it. And then I decided to put one more of the birds just on the top of the side of the piece. Okay, so I'm just taking it. I'm taking my tight bond, quick and thick glue. I'm rubbing it around on the piece. I'm going to put the glue on it right there, and then I'm going to spread it around with my finger. And then I'm just going to make sure that it adheres to my piece. And then I'm just going to, gently press it down. Press it down enough to where it sticks to your piece so that it's flat against your piece, but not so hard where it actually changes. You don't want to press so hard where it messes up your casting. You don't want to mess up any of the details. Now I'm just taking that screwdriver and I'm gently trying to scrape away some of the excess clay. I now took out my Woodwick Fusion Mineral Paint. This is a gorgeous brown color. It's kind of a dark tan color. It's really pretty, a really pretty neutral. And I am just going to paint this entire birdhouse with this color. I ended up giving this birdhouse 2 coats of paint. One thing that I want to let you know, if you go ahead and paint your clay immediately, just know that it will probably shrink up some and you may have to add some more paint. Most likely you will have to touch that on your casting because it will shrink and some of the bottom part underneath of your project will show, that color will show, and you might have to touch up your actual casting as well. Okay, so the next thing I did is took out my DIY white wax and I just covered this whole house up with white wax. Then I took out a baby wipe to wipe back a lot of that wax because I didn't want the house to turn white. I just wanted to have some white accents. If I just used a paper towel, most of it would actually still stay. You see that? That's me using a paper towel, and it was leaving way too much of that white wax on there. So I decided to take a wet wipe, and now you can see how it's bringing back that gorgeous woodwick color. And now it's just giving it a nice springy look, and it's showing off those really nice details. So what do y'all think of this sparrow's nest mold? What do y'all think of this release so far? Are you loving it? What do y'all think of this mold? Do you like it? I have had so much fun creating all these for you guys, and I have so many more projects that I want to make over and make in the future. This is just a few samplings of them. If you haven't yet subscribed, you need to hit that subscription button so you don't miss out on any future projects. There are going to be a lot of really cool, neat projects coming up, and you're not going to want to miss all of the ways that you can use these transfers and molds and stamps and paint inlays. Remember, if you want to pick up any of these products, any of the IOD new release products or the paints, waxes, sealers, just head over to my description and there'll be a link right there for you to click on the items, and it'll take you right to my website where you can purchase any of these items. What do y'all think of the Sparrow's Nest mold? What do you think about this project and how I changed it up? Do you like it? The next project is going to be this old toolbox that I'm calling the Spring Toolbox. This is an old handmade toolbox that I had in my booth at one time for display, but I had previously brought it home and I decided that I was going to paint it with some milk paint. I'm going to teach you how to use milk paint if you've never used it before. What you're going to do is you're going to take some hot water and your milk paint and you're going to mix it together. I prefer it to be a little thicker than the directions call for. It calls for 1 to 1, but I like to just make it thicker so I don't put so much water in the mix. You're going to stir it up, and also use warm water, and you're going to stir it up and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, you're going to stir it up again, and then you're going to apply it to your piece. The second time that I apply the paint, the second coat of paint, after I apply the second coat of paint, I'm then going to take out my heat gun. You can use a hairdryer if you don't have a heat gun. And then you're going to hit your paint with the heat gun, and it's going to cause it to dry up and to crackle and give you that really old, chippy look. If you want that look. If you don't want that look, you can just simply paint it, and it doesn't give you that old chippy look. It just has a neat looking texture, okay? So it just would be smooth. So you don't have to do the aged chippy look, but for this particular project, I thought it would be fun and it would look authentic. So I decided to leave the inside the raw wood with all the heat up looking, wear and tear on it. And now here I am with my heat gun. I'm hitting it. You can see how it dries very, very quickly. And it gives you that good crackle. And even if you hit it really hard, it'll just cause it to peel and come right up. So after you hit it with your heat gun and you dry the whole thing up, you're going to want to sand it. I sanded it down a little bit to take off that loose paint. You don't have to take off the loose paint, but I didn't want it flaking everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and sand it off, and then I'm going to wipe it down lightly with a wet wipe. If you wipe too hard, it'll come right off. So some areas it's really coming off good, but I wanted it to just look old and aged and just have it, have that really cool look. We are going to be using the second paint inlay technique on this project. This is the second paint inlay and it's called Spring Melody, and I love this paint inlay. If you like bunnies and Easter and little baby animals and florals and all things Easter and cute and pretty, you're going to love this transfer set. So I'm going to teach you the second technique and how to use it. So this technique is using liquid patina. It's a top coat, and y'all look at that piece. It was just made for this toolbox. These are little dainty little petite roses. So what you're going to do is you're going to take out your liquid patina, which is a decoupage gel and a sealer, and you're just going to give it a nice coat of the liquid patina on top of this piece, okay, on top of the handle, on top of your milk paint. And you can use it on top of a fusion mineral paint as well that has a sealer already, but you have to use a sealer. This kind of paint inlay will only work on chalk paint or over a sealed paint with a liquid patina. It will not work. You cannot press a paint inlay into fusion mineral paint. It will not work. Ask me how I know. I did one and I messed it up. You can't do it. Trust me on this one. You don't want to ruin your paint inlay. I already did that for you. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these roses and I'm going to cut them out. I'm going to place 3 different roses, 2 roses in these little rose buds on the side of this piece. So I'm just cutting them out. I'm laying them how I like them. I'm going to add a coat of the liquid patina on the side of this piece. I'm then going to lightly spritz these roses, and then I'm going to place them on top of the liquid patina face down. You're going to be able to tell that the darker side is the side with the paint inlay, the lighter side is the back. You want to place the paint side down so it gets right into that liquid patina and it adheres to your piece. So here I am putting the liquid patina onto this toolbox. 1, it's sealing the toolbox, but 2, it's going to act like the medium. It's going to be a medium that's going to adhere the paint inlay into your piece. If y'all are understanding what I'm saying, y'all let me know if I'm making sense. So now you're going to take the paint inlay, the paint part face down. You're pressing it directly into that liquid patina while the liquid patina is wet. Okay? And you're just going to do all 3 pieces. And then you're going to have to let it sit there a while so that the paint adheres to the liquid patina. Okay? and so that your paint will actually, the paint inlay will actually adhere to your piece. It's not adhering to your liquid patina, but the liquid patina is basically grabbing your paint, the paint off the paint inlay, and it's going, see there y'all, look, it's going to stick to your piece. Oh, I love this part. It's my favorite part. So I was noticing that I pulled it back. You're just going to test it. You don't want this though to dry completely, because if it dries completely, it may not work right. So you need to be testing it. I can't tell you exact time. You're just going to have to experiment and play around and test it, but don't let it get completely dry. So here I am just pulling it off, and as my kids say, it's so satisfying. But look at that. Isn't that cool? It looks so good. Now the thing you need to know with the paint inlays, they are not perfect. If you want a perfect transfer, you need to use a transfer. A transfer will give you the perfect image. Paint inlay is not going to give you the perfect image. It's going to be perfectly imperfect, but not perfect. So know that there's some areas that just aren't going to come off completely. That's the nature of the paint inlay, but that's also the beauty of the paint inlay. It's kind of like milk paint. If you want it perfect, don't use milk paint. Use the Fusion Mineral Paint. If you're okay with some variants, then use the milk paint. And just know that that's part of the process. So here I am pulling it off, and you can see there might be a little area here or there that doesn't stick exactly, but it looks so good. Y'all look at that. Isn't that cool? It looks like it's been there forever. It looks so natural. So y'all once you take those pieces off, you need to let them dry flat, because you can use them multiple times. But know that each time you use them, some of the paint from the previous time will actually adhere to your next project. Okay, so some of this green milk paint might adhere to the next project. So the next thing I did is I took out my clear wax, and I'm going to wax this piece. Wax is a good thing to use as a sealer on top of your milk paint. You can also use that liquid patina as well, but I'm using the wax to seal in the paint and seal over the paint inlays as well. So I'm going to go around the entire piece, and you're going to see how the wax darkens it up. But after I do the clear wax, I'm going back with a little bit of the Fusion. No, I think I'm using, I can't remember if I'm using the Fusion Aging Wax or the dark wax from DIY. I think it's I can see the Fusion Aging Wax there. I can't remember which one I use. I use one of the dark waxes. They're both very similar. If you use the dark wax from DIY or the aging wax from Fusion, both very similar. They give you that antique look. But I'm just painting on the wax, and I'm wiping it off. And now for the final reveal. Y'all, if I have inspired you in any way and have given you some new ideas, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I love how this toolbox turned out. I love this Spring Melody paint inlay. If it wasn't raining outside, I think this would be so fun and so cute to style up for a little garden display. Maybe on my back porch, you could put all kinds of things in here, gardening items, or even salt and pepper and napkins for a little picnic, whatever you want. I think it's super cute. I brought home an assortment of milk paint colors that I thought y'all might want to try for spring, some really pretty spring colors. And like I said earlier, I have a lot of different colors of paints and milk paints and all these products on my website. I'll put them in the description. Y'all, you want to act fast on these products because they do sell out. The IOD products do sell out. So, you know, if you want them, you better get them now so you don't regret not getting them. Okay, y'all, this is the cutest little project. I love this little project. This is a little ironing board. I remember when I purchased it. I found it in Toccoa, Georgia at a little thrift shop. I think I paid $3 for it. I actually had it in my booth for a while. It never sold, so I brought it home. I thought it would be a perfect little piece to make over. And I thought it would be really cute for a little girl, or after I started working on it, I thought this would be great in someone's laundry room as well. I may even keep it. I don't know. So here we're just doing the same thing with the milk paint. We're giving it 2 coats of paint, the vintage laurel color. Look how pretty it is. It's just really smooth and pretty. And I could have just stopped there, but no, I wanted to get that old chippy look. I know some of y'all love the chippy look. Some of y'all hate the chippy look, but on these projects, we're making it old and chippy just so it'll make it look more, antique looking. And the thing with the milk paint, it actually does look antique. It looks authentic. I used a little sample size from Fusion Milk Paint. These little samples last a pretty good while. I painted the whole toolbox. I painted this piece. I painted another project that's going to be on another video, and I still have a good amount left to use on another project. I wanted to take a minute and just tell you thank you so much for spending your time here with me today. I know your time is very valuable, and I really appreciate you sticking around and watching this video. I appreciate all of your comments, your likes. I appreciate you sharing this with other folks. I have really enjoyed getting to know you. You really make my day, all of your comments and likes. It really keeps me going and motivated. I really love making these projects. And now I feel like I have a group of friends to make these projects for and to share ideas with. So I really appreciate all of your support. This transfer set is called the Katharina set. And it is a gorgeous, vibrant set of transfers. Think English garden, just gorgeous roses and flowers and birds. They are more substantial than the other transfers, just thicker flowers, and they are gorgeous. They're really fun to layer up. You can either use them, single transfers, or you can layer them up. Lately I've been having a lot of fun layering transfers. So at first I'm just cutting out different transfers to put on this piece, and I wasn't quite sure which ones I wanted to use, and I ended up using 3 of them. I think if you use odd numbers it looks better, so I ended up using 3 of the larger ones versus the smaller ones. I have some other really fun projects I'm going to make with these, but they're going to be in another subsequent video. So I wanted to tell y'all that Toccoa, Georgia is in the northeast corner of Georgia, right before you get to South Carolina. It's on the border, and it's just a little mountain town, and sometimes I go to court over there, and all these little towns around me are little mountain towns, and I just thought I would mention that for those of you that didn't know. And so y'all can find these products on my website, but if you're local, I am going to have all of my IOD products at our store in Beaufort, Georgia. That's right by the Mall of Georgia, just on the other side of the highway. They will be at Detail Link. You can find those today and going forward at Detail Link. You can go into the store. Ryan will be there helping you. That's our office manager. Possibly my husband, Brian, might be there. And I would love to be there. But I have a trial. For those of you who don't know, I am an attorney, and I have a trial in the morning at 9 a.m. So I may be there all day. Who knows? Hopefully not. Hopefully I'll get it settled and we can go on our merry way. But if I'm up there at Detail Link, I'd love to meet you. So all I'm doing here is I'm just layering these large flowers in just a little grouping, a little arrangement. I think it just gives it a big impact when you put multiple transfers together. I really like layering them up. You don't have to do this. You can just put a single one, but I think it looks really cool when you mix the different flowers together. You can also put stamps and things and just do kind of like a mixed media. That's really cool too. But on this one, I just use these three big florals, And then I'm just adding some clear wax to seal in the milk paint. And then I'm going to seal it in again, or add some of the dark wax. The reason you want to put the clear wax first and then the dark wax is you can control the dark wax a little bit more. If you put the dark wax directly on there, it's just going to really darken it up, and you're not going to have as much control to be able to wipe it away. So that's why I do that. And y'all, the reveal is coming up. I think this little ironing board is so cute. It's just adorable. I wish my little girl was still little, but she's 10 now. I don't think she'd be too into this ironing board, but if I had a little girl or a granddaughter, I think it'd be so cute. And here is the final reveal. What do you think of this ironing board? Do you love it? I just love this little ironing board. I think it's so cute, and I think it turned out so pretty. I love how the colors pop with this vintage laurel color. I think it's really pretty. So thank y'all so much again for watching. Thank you so much for being here with me. And if I can help you in any way, you just message me or leave me a comment, and I'll promise I'll get back to you.